Hey guys, what's up? It's Crowd9 here with my Invoked Dogmatika deck list that I've been working on a lot, and I actually really think this is a good build, personally anyways. So guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I have a TCG affiliate link down below if you want to use it, and if you like this video, let me know. And if you didn't like it, let me know why. I'm always willing to hear you guys out. So without further ado, let's get started so I can go ahead and explain the cards and my crazy reasoning why. So starting off, of course, with every video that I've been making, we have 3 copies of Alistair the Invoker. Whole point of him, you normal summon him, you search out your invocation, and you can go ahead and boost one of your fusions by 1000 attack and defense. Really good. So that is our boy Alistair. For our Dogmatika engine, we're playing 3 copies of Ecclesia. On the normal or the special summon, you can go ahead and search out a Dogmatika card from your deck to your hand. You are restricted from the extra deck for the remaining of the turn, so don't forget that. And if there's an extra deck monster on the field on either side, you can go ahead and special summon her from your hand. You are not restricted from your extra deck if you special summon her. It's only if you activate the effect, so keep that in mind. Following that, we're playing 2 copies of Fleur-de-Lis. Fleur-de-Lis is kind of like a Feg Veiler. If you have a Dogmatika on the field already, you can special summon them if there's an extra deck monster on the field. So same condition, you're not restricted from the extra deck at all on the special summon. And when you declare an attack with any of your Dogmatika cards, you can boost them up by 500 and they can stack, so it's a permanent boost. Keep that in mind, you can get them pretty big. And yeah, like I said, it's an Effect Veiler if it is summoned with a Dogmatika on the board. And it doesn't target, that is good. And then we're playing 1 copy of Maximus. Maximus's whole point, you can banish usually like 99% of the time your Almirage from graveyard if you have the Invoke play going on. You summon Maximus, you send 2 cards from your extra deck, so does your opponent, so keep that in mind. And you just send usually Ash Dragon and App Cologne to get your plays going and to keep extending your plays on the following turn and on your end phase. So that's the whole point of Maximus. For the hand traps, we're playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom. I think 3 is perfectly fine if you're playing Dogmatika. I don't personally like 3 if I'm going second. Surprisingly, right, you think it would be the reverse way around. It's kind of weird. Going first, getting Ash is fine. You want to stop your opponent's plays as much as possible. I feel like if you're going first, you need to be more defensive with this kind of deck, because it's more control of Stunish. It's not really OTK, it's not set up these 45 negates. It's set up 1 negate and then a couple of stun options. So I think Ash is good just to keep your board alive and to extend out your plays afterwards. We're still playing the 2 copies of Ghost Ogre. This could be Veiler, this could be DD Crow, this could be Skullmite, whatever you want, honestly. I just think Ghost Ogre is still one of the best, if not the best hand trap, so I'm playing 2. That's just my personal reasoning. We're playing 1 copy of Terraforming, no surprise here. Search out your field cards. 3 copies of Magical Meltdown, still good. Searches out your Alistair. Your opponent cannot negate the activation of your fusion summons, well, fusion cards or polymerization cards, anything that summons a fusion monster. And then on top of that, you have priority on the summon, which is really good for a couple cards we're playing. Still playing that 1 copy of Mystic Mine. I think Mystic Mine at 1 is fine in this deck. You can cut this out, you can put something else in. You can put the 3rd Ghost Ogre in, the 3rd Knight if you really want to. I don't recommend. There's another 2 cards toward the end that you can play 3 of if you want. I just think this is perfectly fine at 1. We're still playing the 3 Nadir Servants because, of course, why would you play 2? Still a really good card to send an extra deck monster and then add a Dogmatika monster. You're getting a lot of value, and yeah, that's just really strong. Once you use this card though, you are restricted from summoning from the extra deck. Please do not forget that. 3 copies of Invocation. This card is still nutty. You just play 3, you know. You kind of want to see Alistair and Invocation in hand all the time. Because if you're a good Invoke player, even if they Ash your Alistair, you're going to have Invocation. You know, 100% of the time they Ash my Alistair, I'm like, okay, no problem. Make a Secure Guard and activate Invocation. Response? No? Okay, no problem. That's how it works. So, this is what I changed up. We are playing 3 copies of Super Polymerization. Hear me out, right? Hear me out. this card's good. Think of what we're running at in the format right now, right? Emancipators can now play Dragoon. Guess what their board usually ends on? A Savage and a Dragoon. That's 2 dark monsters, and we have 2 really prevalent extra deck monsters that handle that. The Predaplant and also Starving Venom. Good options. Guys, you really need to take care because Super Poly is back in the format. When you have strong dark monsters in the format, Super Poly will find its way to creep around the game, and honestly speaking, why not? The only card that really conflicts with this is Dogmatika Punishment, and you're not forced to activate that. You can always set the poly, keep Dogmatika in hand, and let your opponent do their plays. You're also playing the Invoke engine. Guess what you can do with that? A lot more. So, you know, we'll speak about more of that in the extra deck, but this card is absurd right now, and I don't take it for granted. Don't take it lightly. We're playing 3 copies of Triple Tactical Talents. You could play Desires if you want. I actually think TTT is a little bit better, at least in this case scenario right now. So that's why I'm playing that. Oh yeah, so just in case you didn't know, it's either Pot of Greed, Forceful Sentry, or Change of Heart. You get to choose. So, 2 Call by the Graves. You can cut the Mystic Mind for a 3rd Call by the Grave if you want. I just like this better. Because I like Mystic Mind in my deck, so it's up to you what you want to do there. I think this is fine though. 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. Don't get Mystic Mind. That's kind of the point. I will keep telling you guys this until the end of the end. Please play 3 copies, well, at least 2 copies of some kind of back row in the main deck. A lot of these decks can't survive a Mystic Mind, and unfortunately this is one of them. You can negate it, but if they bait out your negates in the Mystic Mind, you lose. So you definitely need something like Cosmic Cyclone, even if it's only a 2-of, even if they negate it, at least you tried. We're playing 3 copies of Impermanence. Still, it's more hand traps. 1 Shadal Schism, Winda is still really strong. And 1 Punishment. Again, this is a conflict with Super Poly. You kind of got to choose which one you want to do. I think Dogmatika Punishment is still fine to keep in the main deck, but you can cut this one out as well. I know not a lot of people will agree with that. I know a lot of people actually like Punishment, but the fact that you were restricted from your extra deck does suck a lot, and sometimes you need that. This is both a good card and a bad card at the same time, so you got to make that choice. But again, you're not forced to use it. You can have it. If you don't draw it, you don't need to search it. That is the main deck at 40 cards. So let's go ahead and talk about the extra deck. 2 Invoked Macabre. You're going to go ahead and negate your opponent's card effects. 1 Purgatrio to OTK. And 1 Aguadis to pop and to also OTK. Because you can go ahead and banish a fusion monster and boost his attack until the end of your opponent's end phase. That's insane. So he could be like 4,800 and boosted up by Alistair 5,800. That's literally just attack for game half the time. That would be our Invoke fusion lineup. The next thing is, obviously we're playing the Construct, the Winda, and as you guessed it, the App Cologne for the Shadal Schism. You don't need more than this. You can up the Winda to 2 if you really want to, but this has been working out fine for me. 1 Ash Dragon for the whole purpose of the end phase Scarm effect to search out a Dogmatika monster, or special summon it. 2 copies of Ventus, still playing it, still want to start popping your opponent's stuff, get rid of their board resources, this is good, it's also a light target. 1 Skull Knight, you get to control when you want to pop something on your opponent's field, well, monsters anyways. You can cut this out for like a Omega, a Nova, a Adignister, Pegasus, another Winda perhaps, or another, you know, anything you want really. This one is a flex pick. You can flex Skull Knight for whatever you want. Another option is actually Invoked Elysium. We're playing Super Poly. We can take your opponent's resources, make Elysium. If you have Meltdown on the board, on the priority activation, you just send everything on your opponent's board to the banish pile by sending your Elysium. It's really good. And guess what for the Super Poly, speaking of? Starving Venom. I personally think it's a lot easier to make Starving Venom than it is to make the Predaplant link. Oh, sorry, the Predaplant fusion. I forgot his Dracostapaleo, maybe that's what it's called. I forgot what he's called. I'm sorry, but it requires a dark monster and a fusion monster. I still think Venom is just easier. It's just 2 dark monsters. it's up to you what you want to do. Yeah. A lot of people keep forgetting you cannot fuse him using materials from your hand, I believe. Yeah, so it has to be on the field. So if you activate Invocation and they like banish your Alistair or whatever, and you have like 2 Alistairs in your hand, you don't have to forcefully make this guy. I know the same thing with the Predator Plan, like you're not gonna have a fusion in your hand, but just something you need to keep note of is that you don't have to waste your hand resources. 1 Almirage, 1 Secure Gardna, and our boy Alistair, the Invoker of Madness. He made his way into the extra deck in a Dogmatika build. So, hear me out. This is good for 2 options. Number 1, you can go ahead and send them off, and you can go ahead and use them as your invoked, monster. If you don't have Alistair, that's an option. The other thing is you can go ahead and just make him an OTK using your invoke monsters. In a simplified game state, you might only have like an Alistair and a weighted fusion and a discard, and honestly speaking, that gets you a full board. So I think that's fine. You can run Alistair. You can cut this out. This is also a flex pick. You can make this your Elysium if you want. Or you can put a different Link 2 in, or a second Almirage. That's actually perfectly fine as well. I think this is fine. I liked having him. I never really sent him off my effects, but I was able to make him more frequently, and honestly speaking, that's good. Just don't forget, you can't make the Madness using your Alistair and your Dogmatikas. They're all spellcasters. So a lot of the time, I actually made them by making Almirage, summoning the Ecclesia, and then just linking those 2 away into Madness, using the Alistair and the Ecclesia in Graveyard to make Makaba, activate Madness, discard, add Invocation, you know the play, and then you just keep going from there. And then you would have a Alistair, a Purgatrio, and a Makaba, which again, in a simplified game state, is enough to win. And you can keep going, you keep extending if you want, but yeah, that's it. The only downside with this deck is you can't really play really strong Link 4s. You just play too many fusions, which is kind of a downside. So for the extra deck, the side deck, 3 Nibiru, still hasn't changed. Just gotta make sure your opponent can't combo off too hard. 3 Secret Village, you're playing so many spellcasters, and you can use Super Poly, but your opponent can't, and that's so strong. Just don't forget, if you don't have a spellcaster and this is on the field, the effect is reversed for you, and you cannot use spell cards. So please have a spellcaster on the field. 2 copies of Dark Ruler No More, just stop your opponent from playing. 2 copies of Twin Twister. This could be anything you want, really. I just think that backer removal is really strong. 3 copies of Evenly Matched. Same kind of concept. You just want to make sure your opponent's board gets wiped out one way or another. 1 copy of Red Reboot, just to make sure that you can negate your opponent's trap cards and hopefully win the game off of that. And 1 Metaverse for either the Mystic Mine or the Secret Village. I never use it to summon Meltdown, but that's an option if you really need it. But again, mostly just using this for the activation of Mystic Mine and the Secret Village, because that gets people thrown off all the time. And guys, that is it for my deck profile. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And take care, stay safe, and see you guys next time.